October 31st, the one magical night a year to escape reality to a nighttime stage of moonlight walkways. As the hazy October sun goes down on the small, old town, the anticipation rises to go searching for autumn confections. Mysterious eyes glistening wildly behind the mask, disguised in imaginary wonder of those one could pretend to be, on the hunt for a sampling of neighbors' shares of luscious delights. Walking, scampering, and running on crunchy leaves to each porch-lit abode, unbeknownst to he who opens the creaking door, whether trick or treat, will commence from each scavenger during the ominous night. Crossing paths of creeping cats decked in their celebratory colors of amber and onyx, the long lane home winds slow and long, to finally see the dark door to run too fast with no care. Entering, fighting to arrive in the den to haphazardly fall on the floor to count and inventory the spoils of war from the fight between others who dared to ring the bell before and after. Ending the night to relish in the sugary bliss, falling asleep to candle lights and jack-o'-lantern dreams, settling in from the childlike simplicity of an exhilarating Halloween. Good evening, Poe fans.
Welcome to the Potastic 2 and our special Halloween edition.
Yes, and tonight we started with, instead of a quote from our beloved Mr. Poe, that is actually one of my poems that I wrote about Halloween.
Exactly, and if you don't know it by now, I'm Jeanie Smith.
And I am Carmen Bolden.
And we are the Potastic 2.
So tonight we decided to do a Halloween special to talk about Halloween and a little bit about doing some readings from Edgar Allan Poe that are spooky. And also with Halloween, you got to have food, you got to have some drinks. So we're going to share with you some recipes that we're going to add to our website that you will be able to partake and make yourself.
And enjoy during the Halloween and the macabre of Edgar Allan Poe. Halloween may not be designed specifically for Edgar Allan Poe, and he may not have used it as a background or a backdrop or anything like that, but who else can fit so well into the Halloween? It is Edgar Allan Poe.
Absolutely. When I was kind of looking to see, just making sure that I was pretty sure that he didn't have anything that was definitely written around Halloween, but lots of websites had the suggestions of the different things to read for, especially read aloud for Halloween night.
Exactly. And like one of our other favorite authors, which we aren't dedicating, but Charles Dickens, he had used a setting of Christmas for a ghost story, but has become one of the most beloved Christmas stories.
Oh, yes. Remade a million times with different movies.
Oh, George C. Scott's still my favorite one.
Yeah, me too.
But who else better to represent the setting of Halloween than Edgar Allan Poe?
Absolutely. So in the spirit of all of this, we just kind of wanted to talk about a little bit of the history of Halloween, and I'll let Jeanie take it on that.
Oh, yeah. Well, the history of All Hallows Eve way back in the day started with the Druids. Most people don't even know that the Druids are still very much alive and around till today. Not the same ones the way back from then, but
well, that would be kind of crazy.
Well, you never know. It is, it's a little Druid, but the Druid religion itself, as many others, has a lot to do with just the belief in the spirits and the other world and all that wonderful stuff. And Halloween, which also All Hallows Eve, is October 31st, and then it goes on with Saints' Day, All Saints' Day, which is November the 1st.
Yes.
So the story behind it, pretty much generalized, is that All Hallows Eve was the night that all spirits that had died the previous year had the chance to become part of a new soul and jump into someone else's body, which is how we came with the masks for Halloween.
That's pretty cool.
You had to put on a scary mask to scare away the spirits so they wouldn't take over your body and take over your soul.
And now masks have a whole new meaning.
Exactly. So that's a different pandemic world. There we go.
And we're not gonna go there.
No, not at all. So it is very much one of those tales of the times and the area and the history of how it has progressed, how it's changed. It went from a pagan holiday to now a very celebrated commercial holiday of eating candy and dressing up in outfits and going trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. You know?
Oh, exactly. we had to do a little shopping yesterday, and one of the stores we went to, I was kind of like disappointed because all of the Halloween stuff that was left over was on this one little shelf up at the very front, like kind of as you come in and leave. And I was like, this is sad. And my husband was like, well, that's a good thing. They've sold all their stuff. And I said, well, true. But, for last minute shoppers, I mean, we weren't looking for those kinds of things. But Christmas has exploded everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know how it is. It's like the commercialism has taken over, and you got Christmas in July, you got Thanksgiving in August. It's just craziness. And then Halloween, yes, the candy is definitely something that pulls me in now. I don't dress up. Yes. I don't do it.
I do dress up.
Well, yeah, I do dress up, but mostly it's just I buy my own candy. I don't go out asking for it or anything.
Oh, yeah.
I just dress up at home and play with my cats and eat my own candy.
Exactly.
Turn my light off so no kids come knocking on my door.
And if I if I dress up my cats, it will become a horror movie called The Cat's Revenge.
Yeah, Pet Cemetery Strike 2.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
That would be, I would become a macabre scene when my cats got a hold of me after trying to dress them up. And I love the black cat part of Halloween, but the superstition behind them all is really frightful.
I agree. I know
they're animals. Yes. They're not superstition. They're not, they're not spirits incarnate. They're not meant to do any kind of devil worshiping or any kind of black magic or anything. Although that's a good song.
Yes, it is.
Witchy woman.
Yes, or black magic woman.
Black magic woman.
Yes, and Edgar Allan Poe's The Black Cat.
Of course.
If you haven't read it, it is one of my favorites. Love it.
But in a long way around, it comes back to, All Hallows Eve was created is, dealing with death.
Yes.
Dealing with the macabre, dealing with things that people find that are strange. And how else to deal with that? You create myths, you create legends, you have a basis of religious background for it. So this is very much what Edgar Allan Poe used in his stories, and
absolutely
he didn't make a living out of it. It just kind of fell in posthumously.
And Jeanie and I got an experience the other night at the Hermitage here in Nashville, where we got to go see a one-man show of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving.
It was awesome.
It was.
He was talking about the guy who was the actor that was creating it, gave a little bit of background and said that, yes, Washington Irving was a influence into Edgar Allan Poe during that time frame, because he was along this late 1700s, early 1800s, very much a part of that genre of the story that Edgar Allan Poe used. And it was very interesting because we're sitting there, we're listening to the story. I love the story, The Headless Horseman. It's one of my favorites along with everything else, and especially in that time period. But it was just kind of interesting.
And I believe the actor's name was Neil Hartley.
Yes.
And he is an actor, and I think he was a professor as well.
Yes.
From actually upstate New York. And so, he did an excellent job, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and he says that he's been doing for over 20 years now a one-man show up and down the eastern seaboard of Washington Irving's Ichabod Crane, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and his other specialty.
He said he had done Abraham Lincoln before as well.
Yes, he does. That time period, that That was his niche.
He had one other, and I cannot remember who it was, and that's okay.
Yeah, it was something along the same lines.
But in wherever you're at, if he does come to do his rendition of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, highly recommend it.
Very much so, especially this time of year. It was like the weather was perfect. It was a balmy 55 degrees outside. We were in a nice little, cabin.
The cabin by the spring.
Exactly. And he was in period costume.
Yes.
And very much
and it was
alive.
Dark, creepy. It was a very light waning moon because it was a full moon last week. I think it was the hunter's moon.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool.
Being a teacher, it was definitely a full moon.
Yes.
You don't even have to look outside at nighttime. All you have to do is just notice the children and the way they act. Oh, look, it's a full moon.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to move also to talking about some of the food and drink recipes that we've prepared, and also do 2 readings. Jeannie's going to do a reading of Spirits of the Dead, and I am going to do the reading of Ulalume.
Very good. And now a reading of Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead, circa 1827. Thy soul shall find itself alone, mid dark thoughts of the grey tombstone, not one of all the crowd to pry into thine hour of secrecy. Be silent in that solitude, which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again in death around thee, and their will shall overshadow thee. Be still. The night, though clear, shall frown, and the stars shall look not down from their high thrones in the heaven with light like hope to mortals given, but their red orbs without beam to thy weariness shall seem as a burning and a fever which would cling to thee forever. Now are thoughts thou shalt not banish, now are visions never to vanish. From thy spirit shall they pass no more, like dewdrop from the grass. The breeze, the breath of God, is still, and the mist upon the hill, shadowy, yet unbroken, is a symbol and a token, how it hangs upon the trees, a mystery of mysteries.
Very nice.
Thank you. I love him.
That's a great one.
It is. I mean, it's very apropos, especially when you're talking about Halloween and cemeteries.
Yes.
Tombstones.
Oh, yes. And I think both of our selections tonight, we've kind of gone that direction, and I think that's perfect.
I don't think we even did that on purpose either.
No, we didn't. We just, these were the two that we
Irony.
felt. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
All right. So, some of the things that we have thought about some cocktails and some food items for the episode tonight. One of them is this year on Poe's birthday, was not able to go to his birthday bash, which in the Poe Museum in Richmond, Virginia hosts each year. They had it virtual.
Cool.
And so my husband used to be a bartender, and so he and I come up with some cocktail type things sometimes. Sometimes he does it all himself. And we, it's like mixology. It's almost like doing some chemistry and stuff. It's kind of fun.
And we're adults, so of course it's just fun.
Yes, it is. And so what we came up with last year for to kind of have some cocktails the day of his birthday, or Poe's birthday, I should say, was a dream within a dreamsicle. And so you can imagine it's got orange goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Some half and half to make it kind of creamy. Then, and you'll see on the recipe once we link this, it has a special thing at the bottom that is a pure delight. So it has to have a dream within a dream.
Exactly.
And so, but we use the play on words of dream within a dreamsicle, and it's very yummy. Another one that we did for Poe's birthday, and this was kind of like a toast to him, was we just called it the Telltale Heart. And so what we did is we took a cherry and smash it a little bit where it looks kind of open, put it at the bottom of a champagne glass.
Oh, yeah.
Put chocolate bitters on the cherry and then pour the champagne over it. So the bubbles make the mushed cherry look like a beating heart. And it's very good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. Cherry, bitters, alcohol.
Yes. And chocolate.
Chocolate.
Yes.
All the good stuff right there.
And then another cocktail, and those were the two that we did for the Poe birthday bash last year when we watched that virtually. Another cocktail, I was just one night thinking of, how would it be to make like some kind of spooky cocktail that had kind of a garlic flavor. And so at first my husband was like, ugh. Garlic's good, but that might be too much.
No, garlic's good in anything.
And so, and again, we'll have this linked on the website, but we called it the Van Helsing Martini, thus the garlic. And so it has some gin, some garlic juice, some dry vermouth, and the top of the glass is rimmed with garlic powder.
Oh, yeah. I like it just because I like garlic. Oh, yeah. I don't care about keeping vampires away unless they're really cute. And then the garlic might be a little too much.
There you go.
That's all right.
Yeah. But it's actually very good. You want to be prepared to drink this not with, like, it tastes very good with food, but don't have anything like Italian food with it. It would totally
mess it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. You might be making some crazy facial expressions.
They might put it off if you're trying to get someone else to try it then.
Yes. And then when he and I just got back from Charleston back in September, we started talking about it, and we had gone to the Edgar Allan Poe Tavern there, and they had all these specialty drinks, named after Poe's works. And so we came up with our own Goldbug cocktail, and he really did a really good job of capturing the feel of the Goldbug, written about Sullivan's Island. Charleston is known for the Low Country boil, but the way they do it, their Old Bay seasoning is not in it. Like when they boil it, it's more butter based.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of just added as an afterthought. So
that works.
Yeah, I know. So it is absolutely wonderful. But it's got Chardonnay, so you have that buttery, oaky feeling. And then white rum, Grand Gala, which is an orange liqueur. And then he made his own Demerara simple syrup to add just a little bit, just to give it a tiny bit of sweetness. And then the top of the glass is lined with Old Bay seasoning.
Oh,
and
I don't know.
It's really good. It's really good. And it is gold as gold can be.
Nice. Well, hey, it sounds like that makes me want to have a little crab dip with it.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah,
it would be really good.
That little. Oh, okay. Sorry, making myself
really
hungry.
Good. All right. So now we're going to do another reading, and then we'll share with you some of our food recipes.
Well, yeah, you can't have the drink without the food.
Oh no, you got to have both.
That's right.
And sweet and savory and everything
saucy,
else.
All the good stuff.
So our next reading is Ulalume, written in 1847.
Nice.
The skies, they were ashen and sober. The leaves, they were crisped and sere. The leaves, they were withering and sere. It was night in the lonesome October of my most immemorial year. It was hard by the dim lake of Auber, in the misty mid-region of Weir. It was down by the dank tarn of Auber, in the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. Here once, through an alley titanic, Of Cyprus I roamed with my soul, of Cyprus with Psyche my soul. These were days when my heart was volcanic, as the scoriac rivers that roll, as the lavas that restlessly roll. Their sulphurous currents down Ionic, in the ultimate climes of the pole, that groan as they roll down Mount Ionic, in the realms of the boreal pole. Our talk had been serious and sober, but our thoughts they were palsied and sere. Our memories were treacherous and sere, for we knew not the month was October, and we marked not the night of the year. Ah, night of all nights in the year! We noted not the dim lake of Auber, though once we had journeyed down here. We remembered not the dank tarn of Auber, nor the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. And now, as the night was senescent, and star dials pointed to morn, as the star dials hinted of morn, at the end of our path a liquescent and nebulous luster was born, out of which a miraculous crescent arose with a duplicate horn. Astarte's bediamonded crescent, distinct with its duplicate horn. And I said, she is warmer than Diane. She rolls through an ether of sighs. She revels in a region of sighs. She has seen that the tears are not dry on these cheeks where the worm never dies, and has come past the stars of the lion to point us the path to the skies, to Lethean peace of the skies. Come up in despite of the lion to shine on us with her bright eyes. Come up through the lair of the lion with love in her luminous eyes. But Psyche, uplifting her finger, said, sadly the star I mistrust, her pallor I strangely mistrust. Ah, hasten! Ah, let us not linger! Ah, fly! Let us fly, for we must. In terror she spoke, letting sink her wings till they trailed in the dust. In agony sobbed, letting sink her plumes till they trailed in the dust, till they sorrowfully trailed in the dust. I replied, this is nothing but dreaming. Let us on by this tremulous light. Let us bathe in this crystalline light. Its Sibylic splendor is beaming with hope and in beauty tonight. See, it flickers up the sky through the night. Ah, we safely may trust to its gleaming, and be sure it will lead us aright. We surely may trust to a gleaming that cannot but guide us aright, since it flickers up to heaven through the night. Thus I pacified Psyche and kissed her, and tempted her out of her gloom, and conquered her scruples and gloom. And we passed to the end of the vista, but were stopped by the door of a tomb, by the door of a legended tomb. And I said, what is written, sweet sister, on the door of this legended tomb? She replied, Ulalume, Ulalume. T is the vault of thy lost Ulalume. Then my heart it grew ashen and sober, as the leaves that were crisp and sere, as the leaves that were withering and sere. And I cried, it was surely October, on this very night of last year, that I journeyed down here, that I brought a dread burden down here, on this night of all nights in the year. Ah, what demon hath tempted me here? Well, I know now this dim lake of Auber, this misty mid-region of Weir. Well, I know now this dank tarn of Auber, this ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. Said we then, the two then, ah, can it have been that the woodlandish ghouls, the pitiful, the merciful ghouls, to bar up our way and to ban it, from the secret that lies in these wolds, from the thing that lies hidden in these wolds, have drawn up the specter of a planet from the limbo of lunary souls, this sinfully scintillant planet, from the hell of the planetary souls.
Very Nice.
Thank you.
Yes. I love how it just, the planetary soul.
Yes, and it
Bring in the
ends
soul.
as a question.
Exactly. What that planetary soul are we going to house today?
It's got death. It's got grief of his lost love he buried the year before, and it has all the Poe-esque things. And with it mentioning October, you can kind of allude to maybe it was meant for Halloween. So,
well, and it's just like it goes along with the All Hallows Eve, the part of the Druids being in the Celtic
yes,
region, and that's pretty much the Druids were the priests of the Celts. That part of their thing that they would do is they would predict fortunes and wearing the masks and doing all that. And so it was all about a prediction and an interpretation, so to speak, just like it is with poetry, with Poe. Do you think how ironic it is that his name, Poe, is the first three letters in poetry?
yes. I've
cool?
always, yes. And so many words you can put with his name.
Well, what I like about it is it's like literally try Poe. Poetry.
Yes.
Try Poe.
Yes, that's true. And then also, if you think about, you mentioning his name, his initials, EAP, EEP.
Yeah.
Like you can think
It's
of.
like, "Eep."
Yes.
It's like, oh, don't make too much noise. The ghosts are coming for
Yes, for your soul.
you. Exactly. I love Poe.
Yes. Oh,
And
absolutely.
I love food.
Yes, yes.
So, see, these go right together. I love drinking. I love Poe. I love food. Okay,
yes.
well,
there we
this
go.
podcast really went there.
All right. So, what kind of food are we making, Jeanie?
Well, let's see. We always got to make some of the good stuff to go with the drinks. So we would start out with, let's see, how would it be? Deviled eggs in the belfry.
Yes.
One of my favorite recipes because I'm a deviled egg girl.
Yes.
I know you're not.
I'm not an egg person, but
I don't hold
these
it against her.
If I liked eggs, these sound like they would be scrumptious.
Yes, because it's a personal recipe that's been tweaked to go along
Yes.
with the devil part of Poe.
Yes.
Because we are including some pickles that are chopped up that are very much a delicacy you have to either love or hate, and you can only buy them at Walmart.
yes.
It's called maple bacon and bourbon pickles.
Yes.
I mean, come on. You got bacon, you got bourbon. Best of both worlds.
You do. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And all these recipes and everything you will find on our website. And we also have a special edition.
Speaking of bourbon, I forgot to
Exactly.
mention this when we were talking about the cocktails. It is this was my husband's contribution to our podcast this evening.
Yes.
It's Broken Barrel Whiskey Limited Edition, the Cask of Amontillado, a collection of American whiskey finished with Amontillado cask staves, 110 proof. And what's really cool about this bottle is it shows a basement catacomb type area.
Yes.
With an eye staring out of a wall, meaning someone is walled up with a rats down at the bottom.
And it's in the basement in the barrels with all the whiskey, and it's got the skull on it. It's got all the cool things that goes right along with the story of the Cask of Amontillado.
Yes, and it even has a little bit of the story. It says Amontillado. I hope, if I can actually read this, I don't have my glasses on. I have my doubt. Lying dormant in a crypt, thought never to get out.
Nice.
So we wanted to include that as well, and my husband was very excited when he found that.
Yeah, he's like, hey, here's my contribution. Sorry.
Yes. All right. So back to food.
Yes, back to food. So after the deviled eggs in the belfry, we have the purloin lettuce wraps.
Yes.
Which once more, it's like a bacon thing. It's like you gotta have this nice little tenderloin. You cook it to perfection all day. You add a little teriyaki, some pineapple, throw it on a piece of lettuce, put a little, little more on top.
Yes.
And boy, howdy, I'm making myself even hungrier.
Oh, I know. And again, all these recipes will be online.
Oh, yes. And then, of course, we have to go down to, it's kind of a play on Pigs in the Blanket.
Yes.
But it's called
Four Beasts in One, which is named after one of Poe's stories. And so what we did, instead of just the little smoky wrapped in a biscuit or something like that, we decided to take it up a notch.
Well, of course. Got to add more meat.
So we have the little smoky wrapped in prosciutto. And
salami
and
pepperoni
in a crescent roll.
Nice.
So
and
nice appetizer.
Good. Heck yeah. You got the appetizer, you got the deviled eggs, you got the purloin lettuce wraps. Hey, it's got a little bit of vegetables.
Yes, and healthy. That's healthy.
Somewhat healthy.
And fruit.
And fruit. Yeah, because it's got pineapple in it. I forgot. So now that all has to lead into a dessert.
Yes. Oh, but we also forgot the pit and the pendulum charcuterie.
Exactly.
And this is Jeannie's creation. So tell us about what we decided was the pit, the pendulum, and all the fun stuff.
Oh, yeah. So I just had this, I don't know. It was weird. I guess I was really hungry and I was thinking of cheese and olives or whatever. But I was like, the pit. You could have the olive that has the pit, and then you could have a pretzel stick hanging out of it, and then have the cheese off of that, and that would be the pendulum.
Yes.
So then you would have the pit of the olive, you would have the pretzel as the handle of the pendulum, and then you would have your cheese swinging from the pit to the pendulum.
Yes.
Have all of it mixed in together.
It sounds really good.
Yes, I'm sorry. You got the salt, the pretzel, the cheese, the olives. I was definitely hungry when I came up with that one.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's
great.
great.
The charcuterie. It's just great. You could have that as an appetizer with the deviled eggs. Then you got the purloin lettuce wraps. You got the appetizers of the four beasts in a blanket. And then, of course, you got to tie it all up by ending it with some good dessert.
Yes. And so we actually baked these on Saturday. And this is a recipe we came up with from scratch. And to pay homage to Annabelle Lee, which is one of our favorite poems.
Very much so, yes.
We called this the Kingdom by the Sea Salt Black Velvet Caramel Cupcakes.
It's awesome.
Not only is the name a mouthful, the cupcake is a mouthful.
Much so too.
And so we
taste wonderful.
Yes. And so again, we will have the recipes linked online, and we suggest you make these scrumptious things. And
exactly. And we'll have some pictures to,
Yes.
Not the ones that, well, it didn't last very long, but it lasted long enough for us to have some pictures. Yes. But yeah, it turned out very well, and it just fit so perfectly because we had mentioned of making the icing like a purple or and then it was going into being a black on a black velvet cake type affair. But then when it came down to it, after the food coloring got added, the icing turned to this nice tombstone gray color.
Yes. And
so the cupcake ended up being black, and then the icing was a tombstone gray.
Yes.
So it just fit so well. It was like Poe had a hand in it after all.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeannie picked out the little tool to the tip for the icing to put on to the cupcakes, and they look like, we kind of call it like vines or something.
Like
so
it's wrapping up in the tombstone of the cake.
Yes.
We got a little weirded out there for a minute.
Yeah, we did, but they really taste amazing.
They do, and that sea salt makes it nice and crunchy. You don't really think of a cupcake being crunchy, but it definitely adds to that flavoring. You've got the chocolate, you got the caramel, and who can ever say no to sea salt caramel?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I'm making myself even more hungry.
I know.
It's too late at night to be eating right now.
So that wraps up all of our food and cocktail options that we wanted to share with you, so you could have, decide if you wanted to make any of these for Halloween or after.
Yeah, and enjoy our tribute to Poe Halloween reading. So food, drink, a nice little reading for Halloween. And we hope you enjoy the second special edition.
Yes, and we were going to do our episode of the detective before this, and then time kind of got away from us.
Life has a way of interfering.
So we have it ready, and so we're going to get that out not long after our Halloween special.
Yeah, we thought we wouldn't overshadow this weekend being Halloween and make this our special to go along with the other special, and then we would return to our regularly scheduled program.
Yes.
Part 3. Is it episode 3?
Episode 2, technically.
Oh, technically episode 2.
Well,
no, technically
it is 3. Yeah.
It would be 3 because introduction is 1.
Yeah.
So, but this one would be officially our first degree of Edgar Allan Poe with the detective.
Yes.
So we hope you guys will come back and join us.
Yes.
In the next weekend, not Halloween weekend.
No.
But be very careful this weekend and All Hallows Eve. And
yes. Stay spooky. Stay safe.
Exactly. Enjoy life. Enjoy the hopefully non-pandemic excitement that you may have with Halloween.
And hopefully the weather will be nice.
Yeah, wherever you are, enjoy nice little weather, no matter if you're Northern Hemisphere or Southern Hemisphere, just down the road.
Yes, that's right.
Hopefully you will enjoy just being a Halloween.
Yes, and have it very apropos. All right, so this is Carmen.
This is Jeanie.
Poe out.